Good morning. Everybody staying cool enough? That's hot. My goodness. I have heard this quote many times throughout my life, and I never knew where it came from. But apparently it has been attributed to Sir Laurence Olivier. Don't waste your time striving for perfection. Instead, strive for excellence, doing your best. I always like that, and I mean, if you can actually live your life that way, you'll probably be happier. Sometimes we can't. Morning. Ooh, pretty. What is that? Is that a daisy?
Sunflower.
Sunflower? Pretty.
And a rubber tree.
And a rubber tree plant? Cool.
Can't is the rubber tree
plant.
High hopes. We got high hopes. We got
It's your fault. Your fault.
in the sky and the sky hopes. I think they were away.
Daryl, what do you do for a living? I think you're a school teacher. Good. Okay, Europeans who participated in the medieval crusades were greatly influenced by their experiences in Africa. They brought home many novel devices and more than a few exotic words. Seamen were especially impressed by a small sailing vessel that the Egyptian used on the Nile. They adopted its name, which they modified to barge, and applied it to similar ships built in Britain. Designed to sail in shallow water, the barge provided useful in canals as well as rivers. Eventually, sails were abandoned and bottoms were made flat. Pulled by conventional vessels or by animals on the bank, the barge was sturdy but clumsy. Accidents were frequent, for once a barge got underway, it was difficult to stop or to deflect off its course. By 1800, shippers were comparing hasty action of any sort with the heavy rushing of a cargo boat, and a person bursting into a situation was said to barge in. Now you know where that came from. Yeah, those English. We do have a couple patron saints, though, George Carlin and John Lennon. And John, love is the flower you've got to let grow. Yeah. And George, I'm sure it's just equally as thought-provoking. If it's true that our species is alone in the universe, then I'd have to say that the universe aimed pretty low and settled for even less. Things that make you go, In prosperity, our friends know us. In adversity, we know our friends. We will either find a way or make one. Hannibal. I think he did that. Liked elephants, too. See how many of you remember this one. Barnum's Animals, commonly known as animal crackers, were first produced with a string on the box so you could hang them as a Christmas tree ornament. So how many of you remember the strings? Yeah, I know. Oh, isn't that sad? Yep. But it was fun. Oh, more t-shirts. T-shirts. Okay, I'm going to have to describe this one. There's, it says basic human needs, and there's a pie chart with the internet taking up about 80%, and then food, air, and water is the remainder. So, okay. I was addicted to the hokey pokey, but I turned myself around. I started out with nothing, and I still have most of it. Lead me not into temptation. Oh, hell, just get me out of the way. I have a shortcut. That's good. I like those. Some of these are going to be for Nancy one day. Someday. Okay, I have to say, this one, and for everybody on the internet, do not do any of these. This is a joke, okay? If you're choking on an ice cube, simply pour a cup of boiling water down your throat. Presto, the blockage will remove itself. I know, these are just stupid, okay? Which is why I'm doing them, probably. Avoid cutting yourself when slicing vegetables by having someone else hold the vegetables while you chop.
It's like hammering a nail.
Yeah, it's like hammering an nail. Here, hold this. Yeah. Here, hold my beer. Oh, that stuff goes oh, yeah, no. For high blood pressure sufferers, remember, don't do this, but for high blood pressure sufferers, simply cut yourself and bleed for a few minutes, thus relieving the pressure on your veins. Remember to use a timer. God, I know I just had to do it. I just had to. Where am I? Sometimes we wonder, what did I do to deserve this? Or why did God have to do this to me? Here is a wonderful explanation. Oh, actually, they're paying attention now. Okay. A daughter is telling her mother how everything is going wrong. She's failing algebra. Her boyfriend broke up with her and her best friend is moving away. Meanwhile, her mother is baking a cake. Asks her daughter if she would like a snack. The daughter says, well, absolutely, Mom. I love your cake. Here, have some cooking oil, her mother offers. Well, yuck, says the daughter. How about a couple raw eggs? Gross, Mom. Would you like some flour then? Or maybe baking soda? Mom, those are all yucky. To which the mother replies, well, yeah, if you take all those things seem bad all by themselves, but when you put them all together in the right way, they make a wonderful, delicious cake. God works the same way. Many times we wonder why He would let us through such bad and difficult times. But God knows that when He puts these things all in His order, they always work for good. We just have to trust Him, and eventually they will all be something wonderful. God is crazy about you. He sends you flowers every spring and a sunrise every morning. Whenever you want to talk, He'll listen. He can live anywhere in the universe, including in a creek with trout. So, fishing. Yeah. He can live anywhere in the universe, and He chose your heart. Isn't that nice? And we do forget that sometimes. Okay. I am reminded dearly by something that I was reminded of the other night when I'm up here doing something, and I have to ask myself first before I do something, what would Janice do? And I have to tell you, I am really going to get in trouble for this one. Well, it's over the edge in half the places here. So I apologize in advance. If you're new here, I'm sorry. If you're returning, then you'll go, oh yeah, it's Phil. Okay.
Phil, it's not so much what Janice would do, it's what Janice is going to say.
Ah, okay. The IRS decides to audit Grandpa and summons him to the IRS office. The IRS auditor was not surprised when Grandpa showed up with his attorney. The auditor said, well, sir, you have an extravagant lifestyle, no full-time employment, which you explain by saying that you win money by gambling. I'm not sure the IRS finds that believable. I'm a great gambler and can prove it, says Grandpa. How about a demonstration? The auditor thinks for a moment and says, okay, go ahead. Grandpa says, I'll bet you $1,000 I can bite my own eye. The auditor thinks for a moment and says, it's a bet. Grandpa removes his glass eye and bites it. The auditor's jaw drops. I'm telling you, it's going to get worse. So I'll tell you right now, it'll get worse. Grandpa says, now I'll bet you $2,000 that I can bite my other eye. Now the auditor can tell Grandpa isn't blind, so he takes that bet. Grandpa removes his dentures and bites his good eye. The stunned auditor now realizes he has wagered and lost $3,000 with Grandpa's attorney as a witness. He starts to get nervous. Want to do a double or nothing? Grandpa says, I'll bet you $6,000 that I can stand on one side of this desk and pee into that wastebasket on the other side and never make a mess anywhere in between. The auditor, twice burned, is cautious now, but he looks carefully and decides there's no way this old guy could possibly manage that stunt. So he agrees. Okay. Grandpa stands beside, and I'm sorry, on the internet too, what can I say? Grandpa stands beside the desk, unzips his pants, and although he strains mightily, he just can't make it all the way to that basket, and he basically makes a mess of the auditor's desk. The auditor leaps with joy, realizing that he has just turned a major loss into a huge win. But Grandpa's own attorney moans and puts his head in his hands. Are you okay, the auditor says. Not really, says the attorney. This morning, Grandpa told me he'd been summoned for an audit. He bet me $25,000 that he could come in here, pee all over your desk, and you'd be happy about it. See? I told you I'd be in trouble. That's about as bad as it gets. Oh, it's not? Okay. Yeah, top that.
Well, this is a very huge, the biggest decision that we've got to make ever in this church.
Oh.
We are getting ready to remodel the women's restroom. Yay! Ladies, we've got some decisions to make. What colors do you want your new restroom to be? Now, this is very important. There's 2 pages here. Don't forget the bottom one. Put a check mark next to the one that you like the best, and we're going to go with majority. So, vote away. I'll start it over here. Remember when it gets to the back to make sure it comes back up again, or
If
start
you
it back
hate
up
them
here?
all, just say, I don't like any of them, and we'll make a new choice, but
There you go.
I think they might work.
Is it obvious which one was going to be the...
Yes, she's got them marked. Yes, and there, you know, 2 choices are very nice. So, thank you.
The problem with that story about the IRS is now if any of your friends or yourself have to have an audit, you're just going to laugh. I know there's a calendar up here. I saw it earlier. Okay, thanks. Qigong is, of course, every Sunday before Oneness Blessing before and Oneness Blessing after. Followers of the Way, second service tonight. For those followers of the Way, we start actually fairly promptly at 6. It's no 6-ish for second service.
Yes, and we're looking at the pattern of the Lord's Prayer tonight.
Oh, okay.
How to empower that, use that pattern for empowering
Cool.
our prayers.
Group hypnosis tomorrow, Monday. It's on the calendar with a phone number and everything. Sharon Baker. Is Sharon here? I thought she was. I thought I saw her. Hello. Drumming circle with Daryl and everybody else that wants to come on Tuesday night. Still doing it? If you remember to be here. Okay. Have you forgotten in the past? Or? Oh. Mind Shifters on Wednesday. And Intuitive Development on Thursday with Janice. And
Dropping the price on that to just $10
okay.
for that class.
So Intuitive Development. And then Janice is doing a writing class on Saturday. So if you've ever thought about writing a book, come to the class or talk to Janice about what that's all about. She will guarantee that if you follow what she says, you will have a book by the end of the year. Of course, that's a big if, actually, because people, it's tough to do. It's not easy. So anyway. Well, it is. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
No,
Writing
I
a
don't,
book.
it's not that it's a lot of work, but let's face it, the things that block us from success at writing or completing a writing project are excuses. I'm too busy, I got this to do, that to do. Distractions. Oh, look, I broke my foot, now I can't do anything. Computer trouble. And discouragement. And I have some magic tools that will help you overcome those things. So if you have ever thought of doing that, why not have the tools? And once you get one done, you can do another. So there you go. It'll be way fun. So talk to me about that if you're interested. If you're not interested, don't talk to me. I don't care. Okay, so this has been a really strange week. Has anybody else had a really strange week? Okay, very strange week. It's fine. Is the TV fine? Is the
TV is fine.
video fine? Well, fine. Now, it's been a really strange week. See all these little tabby thingies? That's where I was led. But the journey began. You probably get tired of me telling you how the journey began. But I start Monday morning going, what in the world would be good for us to share on Sunday morning? How could I be a blessing? And all of a sudden the song, why do you build me up, buttercup? Every time I woke up, that song was in my head. Every time I turned around, that song was in my head. I didn't know it was a curse or a blessing. So I thought, okay, fine. It's not just an earworm, there's a message. So I thought, well, we need to talk about encouragement. Because, we talk about constructive criticism. I don't think there is such a thing as constructive criticism. I think criticism is just plain hurtful. Now, if you want encouragement on how to do better, that's different than constructive criticism. Don't criticize people. I mean, do you like it? Does it feel good? No. Now, with that said, sometimes the truth is uncomfortable, is it not? Sometimes we need to know there's spinach in our teeth. That's not constructive criticism, that's truth. But depending on how it's said, how it's communicated, if I tell you there's spinach in your teeth, you stupid jerk, that's not very helpful. And that doesn't bless you. That makes you feel less than and unworthy. But if I were to go, might want to check your teeth, that's helpful. Because we want to be, everybody's going, I wonder if I've got anything on my teeth. We want to know the truth, don't we? We want to know the truth. But we want to know the truth in an encouraging way. Now, amongst all of these little tabby things, I have no idea where it is. Maybe I can find it. Don't you love it? Therefore, encourage one another and build one another up, just as you're also doing. That's really, really important. And this is in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. And just ahead of that, that's verse 11. Chapter 5, verse 11. In verse 8 it says, let us be sober, having put on the breastplate of faith and love, and as a helmet, the hope of salvation. And I got to thinking about that. I call it pondering. That's when a thought gets in there and goes, and all kinds of things follow. And I thought, it would be really good for us to develop a spiritual firewall. Now, you know what a firewall is. That protects your computer from invasion. A spiritual firewall would protect us from invasion from negativity, invasion from doubt and fear. Now, let me tell you this about fear. Two kinds of fear. One kind of fear is self-preservation. We really need to have that. Oh, look, I can balance on a beam across the Grand Canyon. I'd be afraid of that because I'm not skilled. I don't have a safety net. And my life is definitely in danger. Fear has its place. But then there's a psychological fear. The psychological fear is that gripping force that says you can't. It's not the fear that keeps you alive. It's the fear that keeps you from living. And that's the fear that we overcome. That's the fear that doesn't have any room where there's love in our life. When love and compassion overcome fear, then we get to do things that we probably have never done before. There's always anxiety with stuff we've never done before. But that doesn't have to immobilize us or disable us or keep us from that joyful expression of living. So the breastplate of faith and love. You know, there's another place in the Bible that talks about putting on the full armor of God. We need that armor. We need to be protected. Because you know, I know this is going to come as a shock to you, but there's some really nasty people out there. And, you know, bless their hearts. Maybe they've had a tough go of it. Maybe they've had some issues or problems. But we're bebopping around, la 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 la, and our world is open, our heart chakra is open, all the other chakras are open. Remember we talked about clearing our chakras last week? So we're wide open and somebody walks up to us and just blasts us with some sort of trauma. It's important to have that protection. But a protection, this armor that we're talking about, is not the same thing as building a wall. When we build a wall, we tend to isolate ourselves. Well, why don't you just shoot yourself? That's not going to help. Isolating ourselves is depriving us of what we need the most, which is connection. We are all one. We are all connected. We are all united. We are all a part of the whole. And when we isolate ourselves, we shut ourselves off from that connection that helps us connect with Divine Source. So building a wall is not an option. It doesn't work. It takes a ton of energy to build a wall and protect yourself and isolate. It takes a ton of energy to do that. But being protected is something that we can ask for, and we can do some things that will assist us in maintaining that structure, that energetic protection. Effortless. Effortless. Takes no energy at all. Wouldn't that be nice? Everything else takes a ton of energy. This just takes choice. That mental choice. Now, as a helmet, the hope of salvation. What protects the noodle head? And guess what? The noodle head loves to run on drama, fear, because it loves to process information. What if this, and what if that, what if this, and what if that, what if this, and what if that? That's its job. Sorts data. And if the only data we're feeding it is fear, it just goes wild. And then we become entrapped in an existence that isn't really living, because we're enslaved by the noodle that's just running around in circles up there. But we can utilize the brain as a powerful tool when we give it something to work on. If we give it data of a hope and a dream, hope and dream comes from the heart space. Give it a hope and a dream, then the brain goes, okay, how do I make that work? How do I make that work? Where's the deals with that? And it will find what you need to know. You'll come across stuff you didn't even know you needed, because the brain is in search mode. It's constantly in search mode. It's constantly in search mode to give you the data to support your belief system. If you believe you're worthless, your brain is going to work overtime to prove it. If you believe you're a precious child of love and light, your brain will work overtime to prove that to you. How cool is that? So, if to receive the life of your dreams, all you had to do was find something to be grateful for, would you do it? It's all it's asking is shift that mind. And gratitude comes from hope. Hope. If you don't think you can, if you don't think you're worthy and you don't have any hope of being acceptable, what's that going to do? That's going to keep the brain locked into a cycle of self-fulfilling prophecies of things we don't enjoy. Why do we hurt ourselves? Because we can. Because we can. So put on a helmet of, have you ever seen those movies where people wear tinfoil because they don't want the aliens to know what they're thinking?
That worked.
This is this is psychic tinfoil. So that those things don't enter. Now you still have to, there's still the process of what's already resident. We need to start changing what's already resident in there. But this will protect us from outside stimulation, from outside circumstances. So when we hear of things in the world that are discouraging, we can still have hope. Because here's the deal. I don't care what you read in the news. There is a spark within humanity that is awesome. And that when there's hurt and pain and suffering, humanity steps up. We'll rescue elephants that need saving. We'll rescue critters that need saving. And we help people that need saving. We're there. There's a human nature, a human spark that is beyond self-preservation and beyond my own ego, my own will. And every one of us has that. And because of that, we can have hope that even when things don't look really good based on the news, we can have hope that humanity can overcome. Maybe not in our lifetime, but maybe tomorrow. And when you have that hope, nothing can defeat you. Nothing can wear you down. Nothing. Nothing can get you. And when you have that hope, you're beyond, you become beyond your physical form. Hope translates you into a superpower. It is, it's a superpower. And the second best superpower? Well, okay, they're not all second best. The next two that I really want us to know about is compassion as a superpower and gratitude. And its cousin, joy. Compassion, gratitude, joy, and hope. You have those, you are superhuman. And there is nothing that can deter you from your dreams. Nothing that can deter you from living a life of joy and love. Nothing. So how do you protect your heart space? Faith and love. Faith and love. Faith that you are not alone. That, you know, the AA people have a great saying. I came to believe that there is something greater than myself that can and will assist if I just but ask. Can I have an amen on that one? Amen. I don't care what you call that. There is something greater than this physical being that loves me, adores me, wants me to be happy, wants me to be blessed, and will throw ingredients in my life because I'm making a cake. Like Phil said in the joke this morning. Would I want to drink oil? No, but I want cake. We have to see how it all mixes together. Everything works out. Everything works out to our best, in our best interest. Romans 12, chapter 13. Love does no wrong to a neighbor. Love therefore is the fulfillment of the law. Verse 12. The night is almost gone and the day is at hand. Therefore let us lay aside the deeds of darkness and put on armor of light. Armor of light. Now may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing. Chapter 15, Romans. And we talked a little bit about encouraging one another. Because I think we need that. We get discouraged. You know, we do. Life happens. Car broke down. Computer crashed. Oh. stuff happens and our world is inconvenienced because we think it needs to look a certain way, and well, I have to agree, I like it that way. But even if a man is caught in trespass, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness. Gentleness. I don't have to be harsh. You don't have to be harsh. You can be kind. That's where compassion comes in. We need that. The world is harsh. You get in a parking place somebody else wanted. Ooh, you're going to hear about it. And not in nice words. There's harshness everywhere. Rough edges everywhere. But not here. Not in your heart. Not in your heart. Let no unwholesome word proceed from your mouth, but only such a word as is good for edification, according to the need of the moment, that it may give grace to those who hear. Now, with that, I'm speaking to myself now. Maybe it will apply to you. I don't know. It might. With that, when it says no unwholesome word, sure, it means swear words, but it also means that grumbling. They shouldn't do that. They do it my way. Why don't they just talk to me and I would just tell them how to run the world? That doesn't build anybody up. So let's make a campaign against whining. Are you in? I'm in. Because whining is the very thing that will discourage us. And if I listen to someone else's whining, even if it doesn't apply to me, sucks the energy right out of my system. Just drains us dry. And you know what? That's how dark forces control us. You have a whiner in your world? No, it doesn't. When I was a little girl, we'd go to family reunions. Well, whining wasn't really allowed in our house. I think, we all kids whine once in a while. But my mother was really clear, in a very sweet, loving way, to say, can you say that nicely? And if we said something nicely, I don't like that, or could I have something different, or I don't really want to do that right now. If I could say it nicely, then often I got what I wanted. And I learned that whining was not rewarded. Whining was met with, oh, oops. Whining is that opportunity that the inner brat jumps out and takes control. And the inner brat doesn't want you to be spiritually mature. The inner brat doesn't want you to be happy. The inner brat wants its way. So you get to choose, do you want to be right and have your way, or do you want to be happy? So what can we do? How can we shift the energy of whining? My mother's plan worked really, really well. Just a blank stare. But in the meantime, better have your armor on. Because if you don't have your armor on, it's like wearing Depends. If you need it, you need it. Put that stuff on. Let's look at your armor. Put on the full armor of God, that you may be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers and powers and world forces of this darkness, against spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, wherever you see therefore, see what it's there for. Take up the full armor of God, that you may be able to resist in the evil day, having done everything to stand firm. Stand firm! Therefore, see what's it there for? Having girded your loins with truth. There's your Depends, your psychic Depends. is truth. Loincloth is to protect private parts, the delicate parts, and your base chakra. Truth. The truth shall set you free. And what's the truth? And the truth has no energetic charge to it. The truth is like, oh, you might want to check your teeth. That's truth. And there's no energetic charge. You're not a bad person because you have spinach in your teeth. It just is. If there's an energetic charge making someone right or someone wrong, it's not truth. It's an opinion, or it's distorted in some way. If someone says, well, I just have to speak my truth, and you end up feeling like you've been bloodied, it's probably not truth. So protect what is important and private and grounding and secure for you by knowing the truth. Well, you know what? We don't know the truth, and we get discouraged because we believe the lie. The lie is you're not good enough unless you buy that product. The lie is you're not good enough unless you have blue eyes and blonde hair, or you weigh a certain amount, or you have this kind of job, or you are this political party. Baloney. The truth is, if you are in your heart space and honoring who you really are, you're okay. And someone else's opinion is merely that, and they get to have it. But you don't have to carry a burden of that. Does that make sense? So what's the truth of who you are? Let me tell you again who you are. Ready? Now this is my truth of who you are. See if it rings true for you. You could be, might be, a child of light, in whom darkness doesn't have a foothold. You are a compassionate being that has a spark that is greater than the physical form. You are divine in nature. You're just damned amazing. Right? I get an amen on that one? Yeah. All right, there you go. Well, it felt like I'm in Daryl's church. It was weird. Flashbacks, I'm sorry. Okay. So, put the breastplate of righteousness. Now, in the last passage we looked at, there was a breastplate of faith and love. Faith and hope. Faith and love, I was right. So righteousness is faith and love. Because here's what happens. If you have faith and you have love, you will have righteous action. Or if you believe the lie that you're not good enough, or that you're in some way flawed, you know we're not perfect. But we're human. It is that human nature that creates... Rochelle said this for me. We were painting the other day. I said, oh, crud. I messed that up. She said, oh, no, it's just a flopportunity. I love that. We humans have this wonderful capacity for flopportunities. Post-it notes were a flopportunity. I bet you could think of 100 things that were flopportunities. The only time we screw up is when we forget who we are and the love and compassion isn't active. Probably because someone has worn down the spiritual armor and we're in a negative place. Now, fatigue can do that. Overextending ourselves can do that. So we have some responsibility here. Don't get too tired. Don't worry. Do the right thing. And sometimes the right thing is taking care of you first. Ouch. It's so much more fun to take care of somebody else and then go, oh, after all I've done for you. But you can either be right or you can be happy. Choose. Pick. And having shod your feet with the perspiration? Well, maybe there is some to that. Preparation of the gospel of peace. Be prepared to take the next step in peace. If you don't feel like the next step is taking you towards peace, back the heck up. You're going the wrong dang way. If you're heading into something that feels aggressive and unpleasant, back, beep, beep, beep. Don't keep that truck rolling like a barge. Just don't let there's a lot of weight behind a barge, and once it gets going, it's going to be hard to stop. There's a lot of weight behind hatred. And there's a lot of weight behind judgment. And if we're holding that and we're running on that, there's a lot of built up energy. What do they call that? Kinetic energy? That's inertia, ready to... And then we go, oh, wow, look at that. We just destroyed the dock. There's some rebuilding to be done. So dump that load. Let God have it. You don't got to carry that. You don't got to carry that. That's improper English. It is not necessary for you to carry that burden. Let it go. Let it go. But it's so hard. It's so hard. I'm waiting. Don't you love it? No. You know why it's hard? Because judgment is easy. Feeling as if we're right is an energy surge. It's a non-sustaining energy surge. And you're going to have to find something else to be right about or something else to argue about in a few minutes. And that's why it's such an addiction. It's an addiction. Heard of the term rageaholic? I think there's a thing as judgeaholic. And I think we can let that go. Because we can do the AA thing and call upon a power greater than ourselves to assist us. Hey, I'm helpless with this judgment. I just can't help it. I just judge. Well, replacing judgment with compassion. I don't have to know your story. But you know what? If I love you no matter what, your story is just a story. I don't care. Doesn't matter. I can love you anyway. You can have a totally diametrically opposed political view, religious view, and I will still love you because all that stuff is just stuff. You could be right. You get to be right. And I get to be happy. And you get to be happy too. Compassion is that beautiful sweetness that it's a gift that we can give. And that compassion is available to us. We don't even have to have it. Lord, please grant me compassion in this situation. Got it. Do we ask? Oh, V8 moment, I forgot to ask. Because it's easier to be in judgment. Because we haven't guarded our hearts and our minds. We haven't protected ourselves. And we're vulnerable when we don't. But you don't have to be a victim. You don't have to be vulnerable. Be powerful. Because you are powerful. There is a power within you that transcends reason, transcends logic, transcends explanation, transcends anything. And that power is love, compassion. The Dalai Lama had a birthday. I don't remember which birthday it was. 80th birthday or something? 80s? I don't remember. And he asked, what did he want for his birthday? And he said, be more compassionate. That'd be the greatest birthday gift I ever got, is if people became more compassionate. And compassionate is allowing you to be where you are and being a sacred observer. Oh, but I want to fix your world. I want to make you right. I want you to make you right my way. But if I can allow you to be where you are, you'll find your way. You're totally capable of finding your way. You're totally capable of amazing things. Excellence. Amazing. Because you are. You're amazing. Take with you the shield of faith. That's the shield. Shield of faith. What do you believe? I don't care what you believe. Believe. Believe something. Believe something. People who have faith live longer than people who don't. Did you know that? And the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God. With prayer and petition, pray at all times in the Spirit. Pray. Pray about it. We forget. We forget. And the peace of God, which surpasses all comprehension, shall guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. You're guarded. The guard is already there. It's already there. Effortless. Effortless. Just takes a shift in thinking. So when you wake up in the morning, do I want to be right? Or do I want to be happy? You get to choose. Because being right requires us to be in judgment. And being in judgment is mutually exclusive to compassion. One or the other can't have both. Oh, I can compassionately be in judgment. No, you can't. Not happening. Choose to be compassionate. And that compassion will allow you to let it go. Let go of the stuff that really is meaningless. In the grand scheme of things, okay, so somebody cut you off and took your parking space. You'll find another. Or maybe you go get an ice cream instead. You know, make something beautiful out of something that happens. Somebody yells at you because you took their parking place. Do you have to take that on? Oh, they're just a jerk. Judgment! Maybe they had a really bad day. Maybe they were really struggling with something in their lives. Send them a blessing. Send them a blessing. You don't know. You don't know what's going on in the world. You don't know their story. You don't have to know their story. It's all about love. So let's do a guided meditation, shall we?